Welcome to this special episode. Can you believe it? I'm 10 years alcohol-free today. I'm recording this just before I jump on a plane to go to LA. So about now, today, I will be recording a podcast with a hero of mine, Rich Roll. It'll be the second time that I've appeared on that podcast. What better way to celebrate 10 years than, in many ways, to where so much of it began. I think the whole alcohol-free space really started to take off after that podcast that I recorded with Rich, episode 444, if you want to go back and watch that one. And when the opportunity came up to go back on the show and the date fell bang on my 10 years, I thought, what a gift. So that solved so many of those problems for me, because what do you do when you're 10 years alcohol-free? Outside of, and of course everyone's joked with me on numerous occasions, having a drink, that's never going to happen, because why the hell would I? Here I am, as we speak, just about to depart on another adventure because of this alcohol-free adventure. And I feel so incredibly grateful to one and all, in particular my lovely family, my wife Tara and my girls. You know, I've been lucky to have achieved many things over the last few years, but nothing is more important than the achievement that is my marriage and my relationship with my girls. You know, for 10 years I've been the father that I wanted to be. For 10 years I've been the partner and husband to Tara that I wanted to be. There's something powerful in that, you know, and that's what awaits you all if you come on this alcohol-free adventure with me in many ways. And I did want to salute and thank you all. You know, I've been there for so many day ones, hundreds of thousands of day ones I've pretty much witnessed, you know, and many of you I know personally, and I've been there to celebrate with gusto every time you hit 28 days or 90 days or 365 days or any days in between. And it's wonderful that today is my 10 years. So if you remember some of my poetic encouragement, which invariably evolved around me whipping out my maracas, I've whipped out my own maracas, and they are shaking in honor of 10 years on this alcohol-free adventure. And the best part, just warming up. Right now, when you're listening to this, I'll be in LA, as mentioned, filming the Rich Roll podcast, recording the Rich Roll podcast, but also filming for a documentary that we're making that I believe might have the power to fundamentally change the world a little bit in the alcohol-free space and transform many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people's relationship with alcohol. It's something I'm really passionate about. It's going to be the big project of 2024. And don't forget, you can get involved with that. We'll drop a link in the show notes to the GoFundMe page. So many of you have contributed already. Hundreds have contributed already to be part of that team. Together, we're going to change the world a little bit. And if you donate, anyone donates over £100, that's about $120, you'll get a credit at the end of the film, a title credit at the end of the film. How cool is that, by the way? But whether you donate $1, £1, or £10,000, you'll be part of the team, part of something incredibly special. So do consider that if you want to come and join me on a new adventure. What is documentary making? Who would have thought? That was never in the plan. But that's the sort of thing that happens when you go on this alcohol-free adventure. Who would have thought 10 years ago I would have left my career in the broken world, which so few people do, to do what I love every day, which is coaching and entrepreneurship, and now training many great coaches to become great entrepreneurs that are going out into the world, and collectively we're making a difference. We feel like we matter, we add value. What a gift that is. So for this special episode of 10 years on this alcohol-free adventure, I thought I'd celebrate 10 of the top wins with you. And here they are. Number 1, better sleep and early mornings. You can't beat a good night's sleep, and alcohol destroys your sleep. Many people use it to go to sleep, but they don't realize actually it destroys your sleep, which makes you grumpy and tired and lethargic and less productive. But when you start to sleep so much better, you get your energy back, your time back. And for me, I was able to carve out what was 30 minutes of a morning, which became an hour, which became 2 hours. That 5 a.m. miracle transformed my life. It gave me the time that I never had before, that I never believed I had, but it was always there. As Seneca says, it's not that we don't have enough time, we just waste so much of it. And I was wasting so much of it drinking. And the after effects of drinking were taking away my time. I got it back. 2 hours a day, you can change the world. 30 minutes a day, you can change your world. Transform your health, transform your fitness, start that career. Come and train with me as a coach. Start the side business, meditate, journal, exercise before the world's awake. And for me, one of the greatest gifts of this alcohol-free adventure is the consistency of early mornings. game changer. Number 2, consistent weight and health. So I was 3 stone heavier, 42 pounds heavier than I am now when I first started this alcohol-free adventure. And within about 90 days, I lost probably close to that 3 stone. My body fat went from close to 35%, eventually down to 10%. But those stats remain today. My resting heart rate went from 68 to 42. Those stats remain today. So I make that point. How many fad diets are there that people yo-yo around on? Whereas the alcohol-free diet, in many ways, is just optimal, because then you're more optimal, more consistent in the way you nourish your body. You're more optimal and consistent in the way you move your body. And your body finds its equilibrium again. And what's interesting for me, I clearly remember looking at the BMI, the BMI, body mass index. And I had matured at that stage. I was 35, again, 3 stone heavier than I am now. And I put my stats into the BMI, and it said that I was in the obese category. And I said, well, the BMI is wrong. I'm bigger boned. I've matured. I've got broad shoulders. And then, of course, I did all the right things, such as removing alcohol and moving my body more and eating a better nutrition, and then wallop, bang, slap in the middle of the BMI. There we go. All right, number 3, 10 years younger, if I say so myself. But I actually get to see the photos quite a lot. I genuinely do. I can see it with my own eyes. There's photos of me from 15 years ago. I look older 15 years ago than I do now. It's pretty cool, isn't it? To be able to say that, 15 years, I reckon there's 20 years in it. That is nuts. And one of the main reasons for that is that alcohol ages you prematurely. I spoke to Professor Kevin Moore about this, one of the great alcohol researchers. He said what a lot of people don't realize is that alcohol ages you in the same way that smoking does. It's no wonder that when you remove it, you start to look better. Your skin's more hydrated, your hair's more voluptuous, and you just look fresher and younger. Your body's not as inflamed. It makes perfect sense. If you're not ingesting a number 1 carcinogen that sits alongside asbestos and radiation and smoking, of course you're going to be healthier. Number 4, meaningful work. This is really important to me. I felt at a time in my life 10 years ago that whilst I had this incredible career, and I'm forever grateful for it in the world of broking, it was unbelievable at generating income, but it wasn't doing it for me at a meaningful level. And I think many people find themselves in that trap. But what did was coaching, training as a coach 2 years before that, some 12 years ago, with the incredible John Grinder, the guy that taught Anthony Robbins, and coaching. I started to coach alongside that day job, and it brought me this sense of meaning and purpose. I then found the skills and the courage to go alcohol-free, which built more momentum. And then I knew what I could do with that coaching. I could build movements and communities and create coaching initiatives to help people. And in helping people, I found that meaning and purpose. That first note that I got from someone all those years ago to say, I read your ebook and it's changed my life. That changed my life, because right there I connected with something so deep, so powerful, so meaningful, being in service of others, giving back, feeling like I mattered, I was contributing. And I followed that path ever since. And it's wonderful right now, someone that read that ebook some 9 years ago, Carl Elliott, I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, it's still alcohol free 9 years later. And he's just come back to train with me as a coach. How cool is that? That virtuous cycle. He's going to go out into the world now with 9 years alcohol freeness under his belt. He's going to come and train with me in everything I know about coaching and business and life. And he's going to go into the world and give that back and pay that forward. How cool is that? All right, number 5, saved a fortune. I mean, I'm being generous here. I'm going to guess about £50,000. I think it's more than that in truth. But let's just say it's £50,000. That is nuts. Think about that. We're all in a credit crunch kind of world. People are saving for houses. And what do we do over our drinking career? We probably blow about 200 grand on alcohol. What are we doing? Imagine if you actually weighed that up, 200 grand on drinking. For what? Tiredness, lethargy, can't be arseness, underperformance, overweight, not being the parent you want to be, not being the partner you want to be, not showing up the way that you want to consistently in your career, being grumpy, lethargic, and then you're spending 200 grand on it whilst it's diseasing your body and destroying your sleep and breaking down your ambition, your productivity, and you're only performing at 60% of what you're really capable of. And we're paying 200 grand for it over a drinking career. So I reckon it's 50 grand for me over those 10 years. And I've reinvested that in training. I've spent probably over £100,000, invested over £100,000 in my training, from mentoring to being coached to degrees and master's degrees and all the things in between. And now I love to pass that on, that 100 odd grand's worth of training, into the courses that I run. And I've reinvested it in things like holidays. I'd much rather spend it on a holiday than in the pub. I'll tell you that much. You know, how many people right now can save so much money? They could take their family on a beautiful holiday of connection and alcohol freeness because they've stopped the vino collapso that's adding no value. Anyway, number 6. I think we're on number 6. Boundless energy. A lot of people will comment to say, you've always got so much energy. You're always bouncing around. It's like silly o'clock in the morning. You're up, you're on it, you're alive. And that has come back because of my alcohol-free adventure. It wasn't there. My life force was ebbing away. I was tired all the time, grumpy all the time, couldn't be asked all the time. But then you start to do the right things, such as remove alcohol, nourish your body better, move your body better, connect with something meaningful. I think that's really important. That definitely ignites that inner glow of energy. And then when you do the right things and you sleep well and you prioritize the important things in your life, the stress starts to dissolve. You're more connected to your family. You're connected to something that feels inherently meaningful. Then you just connect with your inner glow, your inner energy. That's how you do it. That's how you bounce up every day and love it and live it. That's been one of the greatest gifts of this whole experience. Number 7. I think we're on number 7. Connection. Incredible alcohol-free connection. I mean, I've been so lucky to have seen so many of those day ones, to have made so many unbelievable connections, great friendships, great times, great laughs over the last 10 years. And it continues to evolve and grow. And I feel very fortunate for the alcohol-free communities that I've been involved in, all alcohol-free communities, everyone in the space, because the fluff has gone. We connect at a completely different level. It's real, meaningful connection that we're starved of so very often. I think it's joyous that we get a chance to talk about real stuff. The amount of times I'm running one of my training courses or training our coaches, and it's a Tuesday lunchtime, and we've just had a really deep, meaningful conversation. I get such a buzz out of that, such a joy. I spent my whole life prior to that trying to get into those positions, to have those type of conversations. And occasionally they might pop up after 5 or 6 drinks, and then the great insight was lost to the hangover. Whereas now I can do it on a Tuesday lunchtime with a group that just get me, that understand me. I feel so incredibly grateful for everyone on my alcohol-free adventure. Number 8, 10 times more fun. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that actually stopping drinking is where all the fun was? We've been told and duped and lied to and hoodwinked and marketed to for the last 100 years to tell us a story that's fundamentally untrue, that alcohol is fun. If it was fun, every time you drank alcohol, you would have fun. That is fundamentally untrue, isn't it? Just think, I would guarantee everyone listening to this conversation, probably one of the worst times, events, evenings of your life has involved alcohol. I bet that's the case. I think that's the case for everyone on this planet. Therefore, alcohol equals fun equation is fundamentally broken, because if it really did equal fun, every time you drank it, it would be fun. And my guess is, for most people, if you were to summarize your last 5 drinking sessions, whatever they look like for you, and you marked them as being great, average, or shite, I would wager that most of you will come out with the conclusion that the average is average to shite. It's the truth. And what you find is when you remove the booze, you get your real joy back, your spark back. You can connect with people in so many different ways. You can have fun all day long. You don't have to wait till Friday night after 3 pints or a glass of vino collapso. You can have the crack and the banter all the time, every time. I always go a bit Anchorman on myself here. 80% of the time it works every time. But still, it's 10 times more fun. That's what I've discovered over the last 10 years. Number 9, ambition comes bouncing back. This is a really important one. I believe alcohol's like kryptonite to your dreams. And I know that for facts. I've seen it up close so many times. I've seen so many people that I've coached and worked with that have gone alcohol-free and seen that real inner glow of ambition, that drive to do something positive and big in the world just comes bouncing back, whereas it had ebbed away. It was suppressed. It's like kryptonite in your backpack of life, and then you take it out, and all of a sudden, all those dreams and ambitions and goals that you had in your younger years come flooding back. They were always there. They were suppressed by the very thing that was meant to be fun. Alcohol destroys your ambition. Alcohol-free gifts it to you back. That's one of the greatest gifts of this whole alcohol-free adventure. All right, number 10, your authentic self. I believe the greatest discovery you'll ever make is your authentic self, when you can drop the persona that alcohol creates and just show up and shine as you. It took me a while to get my head around this. Alcohol made me into this flamboyant extrovert, and I could never understand it the next day when that persona just wasn't there. I was confused. I didn't associate it with alcohol. I just couldn't understand why I couldn't get back to being that person. I was living a lie in many ways. And people have got to know that side of me, that persona that alcohol created. And it took a lot of courage to show up and shine as me in a completely different way. But when you do, there's a power to that. There's an energy to that. People pick up on that. You're being authentic to you, whether you're more introverted or extroverted. Whether you're the life and soul or you just want to kick back and hang out by the vol-au-vents like I do these days. But there's power in that, in showing up and shining as you, in dealing with all life has to throw as you. Power in the authentic self. When you listen to the great hero's journey of Joseph Campbell, the archetypical story of being human, the hero always goes on the quest and arrives home. What is home a metaphor? Home is a metaphor for you, your authentic self. That's where all your power comes from. And for me, that's one of the greatest gifts of this alcohol-free adventure that I've picked up over the last 10 years. And I could go on and on and on, is the truth. There's just 10 of my favorite benefits, wins, joys of being on this alcohol-free adventure. And here's the thing. Listen out for the next episode in another 10 years, and there'll be 20 things on that list. There'll be 100 things on that list at some point. As you know, I love this adventure so much. I thank you all for joining me. Hopefully you're enjoying the podcast. And if you do want to come and join with me at any point, come and train with me as a coach. It's the greatest self-development course you'll ever take. And you end up with this skill that might fundamentally change your life, as it has done for me. You know, it's the one thing that's changed everything. It gave me the introspection, the insight, and the skills to transform my relationship with alcohol, to transform my career, to transform my body, my mind, my happiness. Now I just want to share that with as many people as possible. So if you're interested in that, do go to my website, andyramage.com. There's a free workshop that you can see all about becoming a coach. Or if you want to get in early, because I'm going to run a cohort in May. We're running less cohorts this year, so there are less spaces. Do go to aretewaycoach.com, aretewaycoach.com. Thank you for listening. Please do follow, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Thank you for joining me on my 10-year anniversary of being alcohol-free. How cool is that? I'll see you soon.